After my parents passed away due to a workplace accident, the textile factory compensated me with a sum of money. Sam's family took me in during my most vulnerable time. But when I was fired from work and went to Sam to ask for my parents' compensation money back, he coldly told me that the money was long gone, and the only property left had been reclaimed by the factory. He broke up with me and kicked me out of his home, left with nothing. I had to beg for food to survive. I was on the verge of death when, on the streets, I saw Sam driving a luxurious Hongqi car with Rita sitting comfortably in the passenger seat. Good thing you were smart enough to sell Julia's parents' house and use that money to start our business, Rita said, laughing. Otherwise, we'd still be working in that miserable factory. Enraged, I ran toward them, ready to confront him, but instead of stopping, he hit the gas. I was struck by the car and killed on the spot. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the very day Sam had broken up with me. Chapter 1. Sam's gaze was filled with impatience, and the affection that once shone in his eyes was nowhere to be found. Julia, stop pretending you don't understand. I'm saying we're done, break up. You don't even have a proper job right now. Being with you will only drag me down. The country is opening up support for private businesses, and I'm about to be a boss. Someone like you won't even be worthy to carry my shoes in the future. Be smart and leave while you still have some dignity. I was struck as if by lightning, staring at him in disbelief. I couldn't believe those words had come from his mouth. Seeing me unwilling to let go, he yanked his arm free, and I stumbled to the ground. Didn't you hear me? There's no point in playing dumb. The breakup isn't a request for your opinion. It's a notice. I only looked after you because your parents were gone. You've been freeloading off us for so long. What? Do you think you can squeeze more out of us? You're a girl. At least have some shame. Without parents to teach you manners, you're as disgraceful as expected. His yelling attracted several factory workers, who gathered around and quickly showed looks of disdain upon hearing him. I swallowed my humiliation and shouted back, "Fine. We can break up. I'm not disagreeing. But the compensation your family took from my parents' death must be returned." My parents had been longtime factory workers. When they both died in an accident, the factory provided substantial compensation. Sam's family had seen this as an opportunity and offered to take me in, claiming they would care for me as my parents would have. The condition? Hand over my parents' compensation money and property so they could manage it. They told me I was young, a girl who wouldn't know how to handle money, and they feared I'd be scammed by outsiders. Since I had been dating Sam for 2 years and was practically part of the family, they promised to safeguard the money until the day I married Sam. Both Sam's parents had patted their chests and made solemn vows, assuring me that Sam would never let me down. I believed them. At first, they treated me fairly well. I had food to eat and clothes to wear. But ever since the economic reforms began allowing private businesses to flourish, they had shown their true colors. Now, every word out of their mouths was about money. I knew they were hinting at me to fund Sam's business ventures, but they had already drained me of everything I had. I couldn't give them a single cent. That's when they secretly arranged for Sam to meet Rita, the factory manager's daughter. Without telling me, I pretended I didn't know and continued working hard around the house, hoping my efforts would earn back their favor. But my meager contributions were laughable compared to the benefits they could gain from Rita. Once I realized this, I stopped having any illusions about them. Turning to the factory workers who had gathered, I raised my voice and explained. My parents were longtime employees here. After they died on the job, the factory gave me a large compensation package. Sam's family said I would eventually marry into their family, so they took my parents' money and house. Now that Sam is breaking up with me, I demand they return what rightfully belongs to me. Chapter 2. Sam's face turned a mixture of red and green as he stood there, panting in rage. He pointed a trembling finger at me, but for several seconds, no words came out to refute my claim. The workers surrounding us quickly caught on and shifted their disdainful glares from me to him. Who still tries to live off a woman's money in this day and age? He looks like a decent guy, but his actions are disgusting. Taking compensation money earned with blood and death, doesn't he fear nightmares at night? I knew it! There was no way the girl was the shameless one. Turns out he's the real scumbag. First, he targets her family's compensation, gets close to her, and now, when the money's gone, He wants to dump her. Talk about wanting the best of both worlds. Girl, don't worry. I'll stand by you. He's paying up today. Seeing Sam take a step back as if to escape, I quickly stepped forward to block his way, stretching out both hands. I declared, trying to run? Your parents work here too. You can't just disappear without consequences. If you think you can brush this off, let's go talk to the management and see whose face burns with shame. Sam's eyes darted around, his face reddening even further with humiliation. Julia, I didn't realize you were this shameless. Who cares about your dead parents' funeral money? Fine, I'll give it to you. I'm about to be a boss anyway. Don't come crawling back when you're broke and begging me for money, because I won't even spare you a glance. He spat near my feet before trying to walk away, ignoring the crowd's murmurs. I rushed forward once more, spreading my arms to block him again. Then give it to me now. Everyone here can be a witness, so you won't try to weasel your way out of it later. My parents' inheritance belongs to me. Once you hand it over, you can take your bright future down whatever path you want, and I'll walk mine. I won't interfere with your plans to get rich. Sam clearly hadn't expected me to be this bold. Anger flashed in his eyes as he prepared to lash out. The next second, Rita's voice rang out sharply from a distance. What are you all doing gathered here after work? Move along. Move along! Over the years, Rita had relied on her position as the factory director's daughter to walk all over people, using her status to boss others around. Most people preferred not to confront her but weren't eager to provoke her either. As the crowd dispersed, Rita finally spotted me standing in front of Sam. Her expression instantly darkened. What's the commotion about? Don't you understand the difference between men and women? I clenched my fists discreetly, remembering her smug, taunting face from the passenger seat in my past life. I'm asking for my parents' money. What's wrong with that? Is it a crime to demand what's rightfully mine? Sam, already infuriated, opened his mouth to speak, but Rita silenced him with a gesture. The two of them exchanged a quick glance. Rita leaned in and whispered to Sam. Sam, didn't your parents prepare for the wedding for a long time? They spent a lot of money on those furnishings, didn't they? She's eaten and used plenty over the past 2 years. Give her what's fair, and we won't owe her anything. Sam's face lit up as if struck by inspiration, and he clapped his hands together. You're right. Over the past 2 years, you've eaten our food, worn clothes made from the best fabrics we bought, and we furnished the house specifically for the wedding. All of that cost money too. Why should I have to pay you back? My parents treated you like their own daughter. Whenever we had meat, they always gave you the best portions first. How are you planning to return all of that? If you want to settle accounts, then let's settle them all. He took a step forward, listing his grievances as if reading off a bill. Last year, the aunt next door introduced me to the daughter of the factory supervisor, and I turned her down because of you. This year, my uncle tried setting me up with the daughter of the machinery factory director, and again, I said no because of you. Do you know what those rejections cost me? 2 factory apartments. Tell me, how do you plan to compensate me for my losses? Without you, I'd already be living large. Chapter 3. As soon as Sam finished speaking, the crowd, who had been on my side moments ago, suddenly changed their tune. Yeah, being able to marry into the factory director's family is a big deal. That's a real second-generation rich family right there. Their kids won't have to worry about education, and the elders will be taken care of for life. That's not something money can easily buy. His parents treated her like their own daughter, even bought new furniture for the wedding. She's been living under their roof for 2 years, and now she wants to take everything back. Isn't that heartless? Exactly. Look at Sam, tall, handsome, and promising. She doesn't even have a proper job. What a loss for him. I clenched my teeth, furious that they could twist the truth so easily. I hadn't expected Sam to sink this low. Before I could think of a response, Sam seized the moment and raised the stakes even further. And don't forget the gold jewelry. My mom went all the way to the city, spending 2 days to buy you gold accessories for the wedding. Do you have any idea how much that cost? The compensation money your parents left behind wouldn't even cover half of it. If we really calculate everything, you owe me. A chorus of gasps echoed around us. In this era, Having a piece of gold jewelry was a luxury beyond reach for most people. Sam's words hit like a ton of bricks, making it sound like I was a freeloader who had taken advantage of his family's wealth. If I hadn't lived through this once already, I might have been stunned silent. But I was ready. You say you bought furniture? Let's see the receipts. You claim you bought gold? Where's the proof? Gold jewelry? I've never even laid eyes on it. Did you give it to someone else already and expect me to pay for it? If you marry someone else and they wear that jewelry, do I still have to foot the bill? Am I the one getting married? Or are you? Sam's confident expression cracked, his face shifting into a flustered panic. I spoke up again, questioning. You say every time you make clothes for me, it's with good fabric. Then let everyone see if this clothing on me is of good quality. Whose body has that fabric really been used on? Your parents have been retired due to illness for so long. Where do the ration tickets at home come from? Can you support them just by idling around? He turned bright red with frustration, but he couldn't find the words to respond. Seeing the crowd siding with me again, I seized the opportunity to issue a final ultimatum. You can keep the house, consider it a gift, but you must return my parents' compensation money. That house had originally been allocated to my parents by the factory. Even if I fought to keep it under my name, Rita would find a way to make the factory take it back. The only sure thing was getting the cash. Sam's face darkened under the pressure of everyone's questioning. Rita's eyes burned with resentment as she leaned close to whisper something into his ear. After a moment, Sam's eyes lit up again. Oh, it's just a bit of money? Fine, take it. My parents have worked at the factory for years. As if we'd miss a little bit from you. Good thing I realized how greedy you were before the wedding. Otherwise, you'd have drained my parents' retirement savings too. A woman like you is a curse for anyone who marries you. My parents took you in out of kindness, and this is how you repay them. You ungrateful wretch. I ignored his ranting completely and stretched out my hands. Where's the money? Seeing that I wouldn't engage with him, Sam's face flushed with anger. He grumbled and cursed his way inside the house, returning moments later with the savings certificate, which he shoved into my hand. I was just about to leave when he called out after me. Let me make this clear. I've given you the money, so stay the hell out of my life. And don't you dare bring up marriage again, or I'll make you regret it. I spat directly in his face. As if I'd ever want to marry you. Marrying you would be the real curse. He wiped his face, his hand twitching as though ready to strike me. But with so many factory workers gathered around, watching the scene unfold like a live drama, he begrudgingly swallowed his rage and lowered his hand. I was planning to give you a share of the profits once my business took off, but seeing how stubborn you are, I guess you don't need it. If you starve in the streets, don't say you know me. Sam, I must have been blind to have fallen for you. You're nowhere near as understanding as Rita. With that, he knelt on one knee and proposed to Rita in public. Tears streamed down Rita's face as she threw herself into his arms. Seeing this, I scoffed. Breaking up with one and proposing to another right away? No need to build a relationship? Must have been hooking up while we were still dating. Huh? Talking about me having no upbringing. I think the factory manager's daughter is truly desperate. Not picky at all. Hearing this, the colleagues who were just blessing him also showed puzzled looks. Right. Sam, when did you two get so close? Proposing just like that? Does the factory manager know? You should at least visit her family. Someone nearby pulled him aside and gave him a meaningful look. Who knows when the two of them started seeing each other. Now he even despises compensation. Proposing without even meeting the elders. Doesn't seem like proper people. No wonder he was in a rush to break up. Rita's face was a mix of embarrassment and annoyance, and the earlier touch of emotion quickly turned into indignant shame. She sobbed and buried herself in Sam's embrace. Sam was furious, his eyebrows furrowed, pointing at my nose as he cursed. Stop slandering me. Do you think everyone is like you? You moved into my house without anything settled, and if anyone is shameless, it's you first. I fell in love with Rita at first sight. We truly love each other. She never uses her father's position to pressure me. Unlike you who's always thinking about the compensation money from your parents' death. I proposed to Rita after breaking up with you. What right do you have to judge me? Who I'm with is my choice. I've given you the money. Now get lost. Everyone around knew Rita's background, and nobody dared to confront her directly. Seeing the show was over, the crowd dispersed. I couldn't be bothered with them and went straight to withdraw money with the check. But when I opened the check on the way, something was off. The place where my parents' names were supposed to be had been changed to Sam. Chapter 4. The account number for my savings had also been changed to a recent one. In an instant, I felt a rush of blood to my head. Clutching the paper tightly in my hand, he dared to deceive me with his own check. Reluctantly, I walked into the store. The clerk glanced at the check and said, "Miss, there's no money deposited in this account at all. It's just an empty account. Are you sure you didn't get the wrong one?" I suppressed the hatred in my heart. My mind racing. Just got back to the factory. I overheard workers talking about Sam's upcoming wedding to Rita. Their wedding was set for just a week away. They really couldn't wait. I immediately rushed to Sam's house, but I found that his parents had piled my belongings at the door like trash. I banged on the door forcefully, shouting Sam's name, but he never showed up. Instead, his parents threw a basin of foot-washing water on me. "Who is this cheap woman calling for my son? Is his name even for you to call? We've paid back the money we owed you. We have nothing to do with you anymore. Be sensible and get lost. Don't interfere with my son's good fortune with Rita." The stench of the water spread a disgusting odor over me. Before I could speak, they slammed the door again. Through the gap, I saw the new furniture that Sam's parents had bragged about. An idea struck, and I turned directly to a shop on the street. A week later, on Sam's wedding day, I went too. Before I could even enter the courtyard, I was driven out by Rita's parents with a broom. "Who is this beggar? Scram, scram, scram! We've got no food for you." I didn't expect the factory manager to drive me out without considering my parents' dignity. My eyes reddened instantly. Before I could re-enter, the workers already crowded around Rita as she came out. "Oh, isn't this Sam's bootlicking girlfriend? What now? Got your money and still here for what? You still can't let go of Sam. Huh? He's about to marry me. At least have some shame. Truly shameless." As expected from someone with no parental upbringing, the crowd roared with laughter, looking at me with mockery. Unchanged in expression, I calmly said, "You think too much. I'm here to collect a debt on behalf of the furniture shop owner." Sam made furniture, but it was on credit. They laughed as if it was the funniest joke. Bending over in amusement, the next second, police emerged from behind me, flashing their badges. "Which one of you is Sam? Please come with us." Shop owners from the furniture store on the street also squeezed through, pointing at Rita's nose. I exclaimed, "It was her! She was the one who ordered the furniture with Sam. And they still haven't paid for it. Pay up! If you don't pay today, don't even think about getting married." The news reached Sam's ears. He hurried out from the back room and whispered something in Rita's ear. Rita's face turned pale instantly. "What? The check is missing?" Chapter 5. Sam paced anxiously on the spot, fine beads of sweat forming on his forehead. The moment he saw me, his eyes turned blood red. As if he remembered something, he glared at me fiercely and shouted, "Julia, what exactly are you trying to do? Are you behind this?" I looked at him coldly, a mocking smile curling at the corner of my mouth. "Sam, how can you turn around and blame me for your own deeds? You swindled my parents' compensation money, and now you can't even pay for the furniture. Yet you still want to get married? You think it's that easy?" Rita clung tightly to Sam's arm, her eyes full of panic and anger. "Julia, stop spouting nonsense here. How would we know that the money for the furniture wasn't paid? It must be you meddling in the middle. We've already returned the compensation money to your parents. Everyone was there that day. They can all vouch for us. Stop slandering us. You're just making a false report today to get back at us. Are you jealous that I took Sam away? We are truly in love. Do you think causing a scene today will make everyone side with you? Impossible. People aren't blind. Don't think they can't see your intentions." Sam also yelled at me angrily. "Julia, after all my parents have done for you, treating you like their own daughter, this is how you repay us. Even a dog would be better than you. Who else could be sabotaging if not you? Stop acting. I could never love someone like you in my life. You better give up. The only person I want to marry is Rita. I was just playing along with you because I couldn't bear to refuse you directly. But I never expected you to take things this far. Even if you ruin the wedding, I will never look your way again." After his words, the surrounding workers also began to testify on their behalf. "Yeah, Julia, they've already returned your parents' compensation money. What are you still causing trouble for today? There are plenty of men in the world. Sam has already said he doesn't like you. Have some dignity. Your parents were such good people when they were alive. If they saw you behaving like this from heaven, how heartbroken they would be. Sam's family took care of you for so long, never treating you badly. How can you cause a scene at their wedding? Aren't you just making a spectacle of yourself?" The compensation check was indeed given to me publicly. Now that they outnumber me, even if I say the check was tampered with, no one would believe me. Their shameless faces made me laugh with rage. I took a step forward, closing in on them, and stared directly at Sam. "Me? Sabotage? Ask him if he's been searching for that deposit check these past few days. He thought he could deceive me and get away with it. But unfortunately, bad deeds always catch up to you." Seeing my resolute attitude, doubts began to arise among the crowd. Faced with all the pressing questions, Sam's face turned white, then red, and he let go of Rita's hand, shouting, "Enough! What do we do now? Are we getting married or not?" Rita stomped her feet anxiously, tears twinkling in her eyes. "Of course, we're getting married. We can't let this woman ruin our wedding." Turning to me, she said fiercely, "Julia, how much money will it take for you to stop?" I sneered. "It's not about the money. It's about what you owe me, and you must pay it back." Sam's parents also panicked at this. He had given me my parents' compensation money openly. Now that the check was lost, he naturally didn't dare to call the police. After a long standoff, suddenly, as if he thought of something, Sam pointed at me and told the police, "It's her. She's framing me. She's jealous of my marriage to Rita, so she came up with this plan to get revenge." The police frowned and looked at me. "Is this true?" Chapter 6. I answered calmly, "Officer, do you think I'm capable of that? He stole my money, and the evidence is clear. You can investigate. The shop owner has a ledger that can attest to this. Even if I were lying, surely not everyone would conspire with me." Sam tried to argue, but the police wouldn't listen to him anymore and moved forward to handcuff him. "We can talk more at the station." Rita collapsed to the ground, pleading continuously, "Officer, today is our wedding day. Could you please let us finish the ceremony before taking him? You can stay here to watch him. Sam won't run. Please. Today is my big day. We can't have a wedding without the groom." A few officers looked hesitant upon hearing this. She played the part with convincing emotion. However, I understood that she wasn't in a hurry to get married. She just wanted to buy time to think of a way to save Sam. Unfortunately, I wouldn't let them have their way. I quickly stepped forward, pulling the shop owner into the room. "If they can't pay for the furniture, then the furniture will have to cover the debt. Let's move it out now. Let them keep their wedding." The shop owners looked at each other and nodded. The next second, they called the workers to start moving the furniture. Sam's parents panicked. They rushed forward to block the furniture. "What are you doing? Robbing us in broad daylight? Julia, how did our family offend you? We've already returned your parents' money. What do we have to do with your issues with the furniture shop? Move or don't blame me for turning hostile." Rita didn't care about the furniture. She rushed up and stood in front of a cabinet. "I can't believe you'd ruin our wedding too. It's good Sam never married you. Who knows what else you would have done? You're only fit to be a beggar." My eyes swept past her and the cabinet behind her, and I couldn't help but laugh. Her desperation suggested that something incriminating must be hidden inside. The room filled with workers watching the drama unfold. Voices of condemnation filled my ears. Sam's family is really unlucky to have crossed paths with Julia. No peace at all. Her parents were such good people. How did they end up with a daughter like this? That's right. I was there that day. Sam clearly gave her the money, and she gave up the house herself, and now she brings people here to cause trouble. Who moves furniture on someone's wedding day? It's a good thing my son never caught her eye. Our house would never have peace. As the situation escalated, Sam, fearing what might be found in the cabinet, rushed in, handcuffed, and stood in front of Rita, trying to calm her. Let it be. Let's just end it today. My parents will definitely pay back the money. Let's just think of it as bad luck. When I get out, I'll give you an even bigger wedding. People like her will get their karma. Let's not stoop to her level. With that, Rita lowered her hands, and Sam's parents also calmed down. Rita stared blankly as Sam was taken away. Suddenly, she turned her head and glared at me viciously. Julia, you've ruined my wedding. I won't let you get away with this. I looked at her and said calmly, this is the fate you deserve. Paying debts is a natural duty. Not paying them back is fraud. Don't worry. A man like Sam is only something you would settle for. I'm disgusted even by the sight of him. After speaking, I brushed the dirt off myself and turned to leave the scene. Behind me, Sam's parents anxiously gathered around Rita to discuss their next steps. By the time I left the police station, it was already dark. Chapter 7. Several shop owners excitedly gathered around me to express their gratitude. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't have known he had moved into a new house. No wonder no one was ever home when we tried to collect the debt. Thanks to you. Or else I wouldn't have the face to go back home for the new year. My mom's lying in bed waiting for this final payment for her medical bills. Girl, don't worry. He won't step out of the police station until he pays up. I'll start camping out in front of the police station from today. After chatting with them for a bit and seeing them off, I was about to head back to the old house left by my parents. Suddenly, I was stopped on the street by a few strangers, with a man at the front saying menacingly, "Are you Julia? Rita sent us to teach you a lesson." I didn't expect Rita to be so bold as to seek revenge so openly. Startled, I turned to run but was quickly grabbed by them. Just as they were about to strike, a figure rushed over and stood in front of me. To my surprise, it was Luis, a colleague from the factory. We had a good relationship before, and if it hadn't been for him, I wouldn't have found the hidden check for my parents' compensation money that Sam had stashed away. He shielded me behind him. Luis shouted at them, "What are you doing? Bullying a woman? How brave of you!" The men scoffed at Luis, "Mind your own business, or we'll beat you up too." Luis stood his ground, "I'm involved in this now. The police station is just a few hundred meters away. I dare you to try something. I'm calling for help right now. Let's see if you can run faster than the police can arrive." The standoff continued until the police arrived just in time, causing the men to scatter and flee. I looked at Luis gratefully. "Thank you, Luis." Luis scratched his head, "No problem. I can't stand seeing people being bullied. Be careful. Rita definitely won't let this go. Make sure you hide your uncle and auntie's compensation money well. It was stolen out once. They might try to steal it back the same way." I nodded, pondering how to resolve this issue permanently. He escorted me home. I slowly spoke. "Thank you for your help, but there's one more thing I need your help with." His ears turned red as he scratched his head. "Embarrassed? You just say it. No need to be polite with me. The cabinet at Sam's place. It has something hidden inside, if I'm not mistaken." "That's the evidence." He hesitated for a second, then nodded firmly. "Okay, leave it to me. Wait for my news after getting back." Remembering the thugs who caused trouble tonight, I guessed Rita wouldn't give up so easily. Taking advantage of the darkness, I sneaked out and hid in the nearby kitchen. Sure enough, during the night, several figures scaled the wall and entered. They went straight into the inner room. 2 minutes later, a fire lit up inside, and they quickly fled. Watching the fire grow fiercer, rage churned within me. It wasn't enough that they took my parents' house compensation money. Now they wanted my life too. If it hadn't been for my quick reaction, I might have been burned to death inside by now. I went to the police station overnight to report the incident. I took the police with me to Sam's house. Sure enough, we overheard Rita conspiring with Sam's parents. "Don't worry. This time we'll make sure that wretch won't live to see the morning. Once she's dead, I'll have my dad issue another compensation under the pretense of a lost check. And this time it will be directly in your name. With Julia gone and no evidence, we can spend that money slowly and she will never know." The lead police officer, with a meaningful glance, The next second, the door was kicked in by the police. Chapter 8. Sam's parents and Rita were taken to the police station for further investigation. Only then did I venture into the darkness, heading straight for the cabinet from earlier today. I smashed the lock and took out the contents. Just as I turned on the light, footsteps suddenly approached from outside. I quickly hid, but then I heard Luis's voice. "Julia, is that you?" Relieved, I stepped out and we examined the accounts together. Unbeknownst to me, Rita and her father had been scheming so much money from the factory. Even half of my parents' compensation money had been embezzled by them. They took advantage of my youth and unfamiliarity with the factory's rules, but they didn't realize that I was already someone who had been given a second chance at life. While Rita and the others were at the police station for questioning, I made copies of the accounts. One copy went to the police as evidence, and another I posted on the factory's notice board. Let their crimes be exposed to everyone. By dawn, a crowd of workers gathered around the notice board. Upon reading the details, they trembled with rage. They stormed into the factory manager's office, demanding accountability, with each person cursing. The factory manager was quickly drowned out by the shouts. As some started to physically attack him, others rushed to restrain them. After he was beaten to a pulp, I arrived with the police. Fashionably late, the factory manager was publicly handcuffed and taken away. I followed the police and a group of workers to the factory manager's house. Almost every drawer was hiding money. He dared not deposit this money, so he kept it at home. Now, this money confirmed the evidence listed in the ledger. After returning to the police station with the cash and the ledger, initially, the factory manager vehemently denied any wrongdoing. But when faced with the stolen money and the ledger, he had no choice but to submit to the law. He thought hiding the ledger at Rita's place was the safest option, but he didn't anticipate that Rita had crossed me. These crimes were destined to be exposed. In my past life, they caused my untimely death. This time, I couldn't let them get away with it. As I was making my statement, Sam, who was in the adjacent interrogation room, heard the commotion. He immediately rushed to the door, shouting my name. "Julia, is that you? Leave Rita out of this. If you have a problem, come at me. This is a matter between the two of us. Don't involve her. She is innocent." Hearing this, I couldn't help but laugh. She is innocent, but were my parents deserved of their fate? If it weren't for Rita's father embezzling money from the factory and neglecting the maintenance of the equipment, how could my parents have possibly had an accident while at work? If we don't arrest someone today, more workers will die in the factory tomorrow. I asked the police to open the door, and I went in to look at him. It's no longer a matter of me just letting her go. Millions have been stolen from the factory. Every worker is a victim. I could forgive you. I've long lost any feelings for you. But ask them, can they swallow this injustice? Sam hadn't expected me to thoroughly investigate the factory's accounts. He immediately turned pale and apologized. "Julia, don't blame me. It was all her seducing me. I never liked her. I didn't know what she was doing in the factory. I was unaware. I'm a victim too. Please forgive me just this once. The furniture we got for our wedding could still be used. It was originally made for you. Let the police let me out. I'll have my parents pay back the money. I only like you. Forgive me. I really know I was wrong." Watching how quickly he changed his tune, I knew I hadn't wronged him. In his past life, he used the compensation money from my parents to start a business and open a store. This time, he was caught for conspiring with Rita and her father to embezzle money, and he tried to disassociate himself from it. Truly selfish. He knelt before me, slapping himself hard. Yet, I remained unmoved. To trust such a person again would be foolish. After all, if I were to believe him again, my death under his car in my past life would have been deserved. The police, based on Rita's statement, found the person who set the fire that night. She was charged with attempted murder and conspiracy in financial crimes. Escaping prison was not an option for her. Initially, Sam's parents tried to throw all the blame on Rita. However, Rita bit back. She claimed they were only after the factory's compensation money. The accounts of their transactions were also uncovered by the police. Before they even broke up with me, Sam's parents had taken $20,000 from her. That's why they were eager for Sam to break up with me and clear their names. They were accomplices in the arson case and could not escape their responsibility. After the police released the investigation results, the money embezzled by Rita's father was fully recovered. I used the compensation money to buy the factory. I became the boss. The workers, grateful that I helped remove the cancer from their midst, stayed on to help me. The factory's performance kept improving. Soon, with the clean money I earned on my own, I opened a branch. During this time, Sam repeatedly requested to see me while he was in prison. He probably thought I still had feelings for him and that reporting them to the police was driven by jealousy. But I refused every request. I let him face the reality in his despair, ensuring he could never rise again. That is the cruelest punishment. Justice is never absent.